Hello and welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. As you may have noticed, today's video is a very special one indeed, because we have not just reached, we have smashed the 23,000 subscriber milestone, which is an absolutely huge achievement. So thank you everyone. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing. The channel wouldn't be where it is without you. I also want to add an extra special thank you to the viewers who come back to the channel for every video. I like all kinds of games, which means while the channel always showcases a lot of older games and thematic adventure games, I am also passionate about sharing my views on games like, to list some more recent examples, Cosmolancer, Life in Reterra, El Paso and Catan. I don't expect such varied types of games to appeal to all people, and I do naturally expect those sorts of videos to attract fewer views, and yet I frequently see these same people coming back, leaving comments and helping to promote the videos in a way that feeds the YouTube algorithm, ultimately increasing the channel's rate of growth. So thank you for that too. I like to do these milestone videos when the subscriber base goes up by 1,000, and I always say the same thing. I absolutely cannot believe it. It was a scary big number when I hit 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, but 23,000 is something else, and this milestone feels particularly special for a few reasons. First of all, you may have noticed the video thumbnail is something a bit different. Normally, the thumbnails are all my own work, but for this video, the thumbnail was created by my daughter as a gift. She is constantly drawing and painting, and over the last year has become quite excellent with an art tablet. She wanted to do something to help me celebrate, and the thumbnail is what she came up with. So a huge thank you to Bella for that. Secondly, it just so happened that we reached 23,000 subscribers while I was attending this year's UK Games Expo. So that was a very happy coincidence and made the whole event feel more like a celebration. Last year was my first time attending the expo, and it's fair to say I was somewhat overwhelmed and thoroughly out of my comfort zone. I don't feel I presented myself particularly well to people, I missed out on opportunities for pictures and autographs, and I didn't follow up enough connections I had made with people through my work. This year, I had promised myself to do better, and I came away feeling like I had. I had meetings lined up with representatives from Avalon Hill and Asmodee, demo games booked, and a list of objectives, all of which I was able to complete. And so I thought this video would be the perfect place to run through a few interesting stories while I share some photographs from the event. And then, at the end, I will show you the new games I bought, most of which will be showcased on the channel soon enough. First of all, I am sure you all want to know about Avalon Hill, HeroQuest and Talisman. I had the great pleasure to chat with product designer Doug Hopkins and narrative designer Tess Hogan on 3 separate occasions. Admittedly, the third time was very brief, but I managed to meet the awesome Jordan Sorcery at the same time. I wish I'd asked to get a photograph with him. I admit to monopolising Doug and Tess's time when I had the chance, and they were very gracious on every occasion. Not just making sure I had plenty of hands-on time with Joe Manganiello's The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness and the first prototype miniature for Talisman Nemesis, but also chatting at length about our favourite Talisman characters and expansions from the past, Dungeon Quest, the epic Duels game you may have seen me reviewing here on the channel, the art of Mike Mignola and Max Dunbar, and much more. They even signed a little First Light promo box for me, which is awesome. What's in the box, you cry? It's a Dread Sorcerer, same sculpt as the one from the core set, but this one's green. Naturally, the big thing on everyone's mind is a certain dragon-filled crypt. I've already spoken about this upcoming expansion at length, and having taken a closer look, I am more excited about it. The quest book was kept under wraps, but I got to look through everything else. The dragon is awesome. It still fits on a single space for those who thought it might be scaled up, and it comes with a removable grey disc that clips onto the base. This can be used to identify the dragon as being grey. Why would you want to do that? Because in HeroQuest, if you run out of certain monsters, you can sub in any other monster of the same colour. There has, of course, been a lot of noise about the cards. I really liked them. Having held them, I love them. Yes, they are very different to what we have had before, but that is certainly by intent. They are a fun collectible, something special and unique that exists within the framework of the game I love so much. And I am already thinking it might be nice to get them framed up for display. The expansion includes 17 comic book art cards and 3 regular art cards. They are all foiled front and back. The 3 regular art cards are for brand new artifacts that heroes can find on this quest: the Crown of Shadows, the Dragon Spear, and the Oil of Acid Immunity. These are the only items you can find on this quest that haven't appeared in previous expansions. The 17 comic book art cards are all available one way or another with the standard HeroQuest art style. There are 3 equipment cards that appear in the core set: a battle axe, a crossbow, and some holy water. There are 7 alchemy cards, 6 of which are available in Rise of the Dreadmoon: speed, battle, defense, restoration, dexterity, and healing. The 7th alchemy card is for Venom Antidote, and unfortunately, while a regular art card version of the antidote does exist, it's from the old set of Keller's Keep equipment cards, so it doesn't have the new alchemy backing. In fairness, Antidote is just a weak healing potion, so I would just swap it out for a different healing item anyway. And then there are 7 artifacts. This includes 1 from the core set, the Ring of Return, 2 from Keller's Keep, the Magical Throwing Dagger, which is also available in Return of the Witchlord, and the Tempest Spell Scroll, 1 from Prophecy of Telor, the Lightning Bolt Spell Scroll, and then the 3 that are unique to this questline: the Crown of Shadows, the Dragon Spear, and the Oil of Acid Immunity. There isn't much more I can say at this point that I haven't already said regarding this expansion, but of course I will have much more to say once I have my own copy. Remember, the pre-orders are live right now, and I will include links in the video description for information purposes only. Now I want to move on to briefly mention Talisman. All we got to see was a prototype for a new character called the Huntress, and despite my best efforts, all questions regarding the Huntress and whether we would be getting secret boxes like in Alliances were deftly deflected by Tess. I did also ask whether we might be getting a new Toad. Again, Tess wasn't able to confirm or deny, but I did get a sense she is rather fond of the Toad from Alliances, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got another one. I did, of course, bring up my idea for a unique Toad miniature for each hero in the game, because who wouldn't want an army of Toads? But, you know, don't hold your breath on that one. The only other thing to mention here really is that Craig Van Ness is involved in the design of this expansion. I'm sure we will know a lot more come Gen Con. Besides meeting Avalon Hill, I had 2 meetings with Asmodee, and I got to see a lot of their titles, such as Pergola and Star Wars Unlimited. I was also lucky enough to get a demo of 3 forthcoming titles: Take Time, Ink, and Battle of Hoth. Ink didn't really strike a chord with me. It's a very clever tile laying game in which you are attempting to group blocks of colours to score them with your ink wells. I had some issues with identifying the colours and thought it didn't seem quite as clean as some of my favourite tile laying games, but I am sure it's going to be a big hit and the little ink wells are adorable. Take Time was more interesting to me and was reminiscent of games like Mind and Hanabi. Players work cooperatively to place cards around a clock face. They have to follow any instructions on the spaces of the clock, and to win they must ensure that the cards on each space have an equal or higher value than the previous space. Naturally, the twist is that players are not allowed to communicate, and most of the cards must be played face down. I rather enjoyed the 2 games we played. We won both, of course, and I can see myself playing this at one of my Christmas parties. It comes with 40 challenges to beat, so it's got a fair amount of replayability. But the big demo for us was Battle of Hoth. Sadly, I was not allowed to take any pictures of the game in the private demo room, even though people out on the expo floor were happily taking pictures of the game there. It's a convoluted licensing thing, and while I do have photos, you can just look at this official image instead, or go and check out the Dice Tower as they already have it. If you're interested in my take, I really liked it. Battle of Hoth is based on the Memoir 44 system with a classic Star Wars overhaul. The board is a little smaller, I believe it's 1 hex narrower and shorter, so the game is more immediate and accessible. You are in each other's faces from turn 1, as was very evident in our demo game. Team Always Bored Never Boring played like absolute Chaos Gremlins controlling the rebel forces against the lads from Polyhedron Collider controlling the Imperials, and we were ultimately defeated thanks to some very bad positioning and some even worse dice rolling on our part. Retail price is £50 for this one, and you can pre-order it right now for an expected release in July or August. I have been meaning to pick up Memoir 44 for a while, so I will definitely be getting this. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. At last year's Expo, I made a point of talking to Alessio Cavatore. I have been a fan of his work for many years, and at that time he was promoting the upcoming crowdfunding campaign for a deluxe release of the Jim Henson's Labyrinth games. This year I made a point of going back to see all of the prototypes of the new miniatures, which are lovely, but more importantly, I wanted to shake the man's hand and ask him for an autograph. Alessio is such a humble, lovely man, and we talked again for quite some time about the progress of the Labyrinth game and of course which Jim Henson movie we think is best. And he kindly signed the rules book for my wife's copy of the Labyrinth board game, which I am chuffed to bits with. Almost as chuffed as I am with this picture. As you can imagine, I could talk at great length about the many games I saw, but let's rush through a few more and then get to my purchases. Horror on the Orient Express has an incredible table presence, but I only had a chance to snap a quick picture. But I did have a short demo of Avalon the Riven Veil from Shadowborn Games with the designer Jamie. He was incredibly enthusiastic and the game looked stunning. But the more the presentation went on, the more I got the feeling it was a game that I would have jumped on 5 or so years ago, but would now probably find a bit too overblown. It's already been a huge success on GameFound, and you can still late pledge right now. So if you love area control, exploration, beautiful miniatures, and a twist on your Arthurian legends, you might want to check that one out. I also met the designer of Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Chronos, which is currently going gangbusters on Kickstarter. It's fully funded and blasting through stretch goals. It's a fascinating looking miniatures game designed from the ground up to be a true solo experience, just Lara against the world. The prototype printed miniatures were already looking decent, and it's an interesting idea. It's also a fairly reasonable price point, £45 for just the core set. I won't be backing, but if it goes through regular retail channels, I can see myself picking up a core set to put it through its paces. The last game I saw that I was really excited about was Horrified Dungeons & Dragons. If you are a long-time subscriber, you will probably know the original Horrified game is in my top 3 favourite games of all time. American Monsters and Greek Monsters are both excellent additions to the line, but I did feel each one was marginally worse than the last, and when Horrified World of Monsters came out, I skipped on it. Admittedly, that was partly because I missed out on the Krampus promo. But I won't be skipping on Dungeons & Dragons, even though I do have concerns. As in World of Monsters, there are only 4 monsters in the game: a dragon, a mimic, a beholder, and a displacer beast. I really would have liked to see 6, as this set isn't thematically or mechanically compatible with other games. Also, there are only 5 heroes: Wizard, Fighter, Bard, Cleric and Rogue, so it feels a bit cut down. Finally, the design does incorporate a D20, and it's in a way I'm a bit dubious about. Looking at the character cards, you can see that each turn you roll a D20 and then you get a randomly generated special ability for that turn. The monsters will also use the D20 in various ways. Okay, it's D&D and Horrified, I do want it, but I am prepared to be, if not underwhelmed, merely whelmed. I think at this point I should start trying to wrap up these meandering thoughts, so let's take a look at the haul of goodies I brought back and what you can expect to see a bit more of on the channel as summer trundles along. My most important acquisition was this. Last year I had an opportunity to meet Sir Ian Livingstone, and I ain't gonna lie, I stacked it. I saw him on the final day, he had no books to sell and I had nothing for him to sign. Plus, I was stupidly nervous to speak to a hero whose stamp was on most of my childhood. After all, this is the co-founder of Fighting Fantasy and Games Workshop. This time, I found him early on the Saturday and I was able to purchase a copy of the glorious Magic Realms, a compendium of the art from the Fighting Fantasy books. We only talked for a few minutes and sadly I didn't get a photograph as there was a bit of a press of bodies, but I got to shake him by the hand, he signed my copy of Magic Realms and he graciously signed my daughter's copy of the Warlock of Fartop Mountain as well. Incidentally, they were showing the forthcoming Fighting Fantasy Quest, the Warlock of Fartop Mountain board game. I didn't get a demo, but it's looking pretty good. One of the very first things I did at the Expo this year was hunt down the Goblin King Games booth to talk to Tom and Susie. Everybody knows how much I love Moonstone, and I really wanted to grab the 2 new boxes of Undead Pirates plus the new Shades campaign cards. Mission accomplished. I've already talked about these expansions on the channel, going through the new rules, but I expect I will be doing some unboxing and painting videos for these soon. They're undead flipping pirates. I did have a chance to talk to Tom for a while. He's such an engaging person and so excited about what he's created. Rightfully so. We talked briefly about what the next releases for the game are going to be, and they sound fun. Once the official announcements land, you can expect to hear all about it. At the expo, you always end up finding some cool and unusual stuff, and I was really excited about Handiwork Games, who make pre-printed wooden dungeon tiles and tabletop buildings. I just had to grab their greedy Goblin tavern set, 4 boards of laser-cut MDF with 36 unique tiles. Combined with my Steamforged Games local legend stuff, I am sorted for endless tavern encounters. And I know what you're going to ask. The answer is yes. The only issue is, the tiles are too good, too thick. I would still love Avalon Hill to produce tile packs like this for HeroQuest. Just 4 sheets of punchboard, all designed around a specific theme. Enough tiles that you can create custom maps or make Jungles of Delthrak feel more like a jungle. In terms of new games, I picked up 4, all of which I have been wanting to get for a while. First up, Final Girl, an unsurprisingly solo horror experience from Van Ryder Games. You may recall earlier in the year a horror miniatures game called Don't Look Back went to crowdfunding. I was pretty excited about that game, but when I worked out how much it was going to cost just to get the core game and the full rules book, my enthusiasm was considerably dampened. I then watched a series of playthroughs, I won't say which ones, and I thought they put the game in such a bad light I went off the whole idea. So at that time I started looking more closely at Final Girl. It is a weird game system. You have to buy the core box, but you can't actually play a game with just that core box. You then need to buy a feature film box, which gives you 2 Final Girls, a villain to fight, and a number of scenarios to play. Final Girls can be used in any scenario from any feature film box. I really wanted the very first feature box, Happy Trails Horror, or the Werewolf Pack, but Chaos Cards did me a really good deal on the core box and the Falconwood Files, which is inspired by Stranger Things, so that seemed good enough for me. Also, Chaos Cards gave me a free Star Wars Unlimited dice box. What a nice company. Then there is what could be the perfect trilogy. I grabbed Duel for Middle-earth, which I have wanted since it came out. It's based on the Seven Wonders Duel system, but has the Lord of the Rings theme and some new thematically relevant mechanisms. It's a stunning presentation, and I can't wait to get it to the table. Then I picked up the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, a beautifully illustrated co-op card game for 1 to 4 players. The gameplay seems solid, but I wanted it for the artwork regardless. Finally, sometimes you have a game on your list that keeps getting pushed down for one reason or another. This weekend, I finally acquired one such game. It's the Lord of the Rings the card game. I'm still not 100% convinced I am going to like this one, but the art is stunning and I just felt I should have it even if I never expand beyond the base game. Generally, when I pick up a new game, I am always thinking about coverage for the channel, but I'm not sure I will cover this one. It's been around for so long and there are thousands of hours of content about it online. I'm not sure I would have much to bring to the table, as everything has already been said. But this was a purchase mainly for me, something I haven't really done for a while. And so I purchased 3 Lord of the Rings games in one weekend. If Fate of the Fellowship, the new game based on the pandemic system, had been available, it would have been 4 because that one looks great. But I believe that just about wraps it up. If you are still watching at this point, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support, and I hope you have heard and seen some things that sparked your interest. Feel free to leave questions in the comments section, and I will do my best to answer them. And thank you once again for helping the channel as we continue our journey to 24,000 subscribers. If you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.